Hi, I'm Taylor with Mom on the Spectrum, and today we have a little bit heavier topic to cover. Should I leave my marriage? Now, before we jump in, remember, I'm not a therapist. I'm not trying to offer advice to anybody. I don't know your situation, but I have been through a divorce. I was married for almost 13 years, together with my ex for almost 17, and my divorce was finalized last year, and I've learned a lot from that experience. So I know, because I hear from those of you in the community who reach out to me on a pretty regular basis to let me know that there's many of you out there considering the same path forward. And divorce can be really intimidating and really scary. So I'm here to offer you some things that I've learned along the way, but please seek your own personal support and guidance through therapists, through friends that you can trust, because you definitely need a strong support system to help walk you through something like this. I also want to let you know, trigger warning, this video is not for anybody who may be experiencing physical violence at home or any type of intimidation or other abuse that is harmful or violent. So if that is you, please call this number on the screen, the domestic violence hotline. I'll also post some other helpful resources in the description. But this video is not intended to be any type of guidance or advice for how to deal with that type of relationships. Just know that you are worthy and deserving of help and love and support and wholeness and peace. So please, please be brave and reach out for the support that you need in that type of relationship. That being said, quick happy note, welcome to the Mom on the Spectrum community. I post resources that help connect autistic adults to community and also that help give us vocabulary for experiences that we haven't known how to talk about our whole lives. If that sounds helpful to you, make sure that you subscribe, like this video if it's helpful, and leave me a comment so that I can get to know you a little bit better. I also have a totally free ultimate guide to understanding autism that you can download through a link in the description below. I've identified the top 40 terms to understand as a late diagnosed autistic adult that can help you improve your quality of life. So make sure to check that out in the description below. If you found yourself clicking on this video today, you might be in a place where you've been in a long-term relationship for a while. You've started kind of noticing that something's tugging at your heart, something's not right. Maybe you're feeling like you deserve more than this, that something's just off. Maybe it's come kind of at the same time of you discovering your place on the spectrum and you're having a better understanding of who you are and what you deserve, and you're not being met in your relationship the way that you know you deserve to be met. That's a tough realization, but it's an important one. And I'm here to help walk you through that today. The last thing I want to say before we hop into this video today, determining whether or not to end a long-term relationship is a big decision that doesn't need to be taken lightly, obviously. The list that I'm going to share is just some helpful things that I've learned that I think could help you determine whether or not this relationship is right for you. But I hope that you will take the time you need to process this. Don't make a decision in a hurry. Don't make a decision until you feel like you have a peace about which way to go. Now, a feeling of peace does not mean ease, right? You might not ever feel like you probably won't ever feel like this is an easy decision to make. But before you decide to end a long-term relationship, there should be some amount of peace that you're feeling in terms of what you're going to gain from it on the other side, okay? So use this list kind of as helpful determining factors as you slowly over the course of time determine what's the best direction for you. Okay, first thing on the list, it's so important that you internalize the belief that you are worthy of a whole and fulfilling life. I think a lot of times autistic people settle for scraps. We settle for breadcrumbs and think, oh, maybe I'm not deserving of more because I'm too overwhelming or my needs are too intense. I'm too much. That's not true. If you're in a relationship that makes you feel like you're the problem or you're the issue, that's not a healthy relationship and you deserve a lot more than that. We all have shortcomings, we all have downfalls, but a healthy partnership, you're going to work together on those without making the other person feel inferior or dumb or invalidated because of who they are as a person. The second crucial step of determining if you should leave your marriage is you have to start from a place of complete honesty. If you are not truly communicating how you feel, then things are just going to keep getting more complicated and blurry and confusing. So if you're in therapy and you feel like you can't be honest for fear of retaliation or some form of punishment at home, that's a huge red flag. So pay attention to that. In a healthy relationship, you need to be able to state clearly what you think and feel without having to walk on eggshells around the other person. So make sure, if you want to get clarity on your relationship, that you are coming from a place of honesty. Now, again, If speaking honestly is going to put you in harm's way, I'm not talking about that. If you're worried about physical retaliation, I'm not talking about that in this video, and please seek the appropriate assistance and support to help you in that situation. The third thing on this list is to communicate where you're coming from. It's important to have a conversation with your partner and let them know in your own words, however you want to say this, I feel like there's a disconnect between us. I am feeling unsatisfied. I'm feeling unhappy. It's my intention. I want to connect to you. I want to save this, if that's where you're coming from. Can we work together to figure out if we can save this, right? Wherever you're at today, it could be, hey, I don't know if this relationship is right for me anymore, and I'd really like to communicate where I'm coming from. Whatever it is, determine where you're at today, and you need to communicate that to your partner so that you have a place to start from. If you're just having these thoughts in your head that something isn't working, your partner at least deserves to know what's going on so that you can have an opportunity to talk about this together. Some options at this point would be to pursue couples therapy, individual therapy. I kind of have strong opinions about couples therapy. If you're going to do that, I would highly also suggest individual therapy so that you each can work on your own issues separately and then come together with a couples therapist to work on the couple issues, because those are all different pieces of the puzzle and they all deserve their own attention. Another opportunity for help and support here would be to reach out for accountability from a trusted friend, from a parent, family member, colleague, but you're definitely going to need some support as you figure out how you're thinking and feeling and how you want to move forward. One thing that I feel like was really helpful to me through the divorce process is when we were in couples therapy, the couples therapist allowed us to email each other. Like my ex and I emailed each other, but we would CC the couples therapist. So my ex and I could communicate what was on our minds, but we had a third party kind of to witness it. And so that helped keep things civil and also kind of have some outside perspective of what our issues were. So if that's an option that you can pursue with a couples therapist, it was really helpful for me. The fourth thing on my list is to trust your own experience. One thing I learned the hard way is that two people can have two different realities and you don't have to try to make them line up together. I would hear what my ex's experience of reality was, and it was so vastly different than what mine was, and I would try to make them match, and that made me feel crazy. And so it's important to validate your own experience, your own reality. And then if you have some friends or some support that can also help listen to you and validate your experience, that's really helpful, especially when you're trying to get clearer about your own wants and needs. The fifth thing on my list is to start speaking up for your wants and needs. This is something a lot of people in the autistic community kind of forget how to do, honestly. A lot of it is due to people pleasing, masking, fawning, you name it. But getting clear about our wants and needs is really important. One way that we can do that is the sixth thing on my list: start doing more of what makes you happy and less of what doesn't. Now, I know that's an overgeneralization, especially I know for working parents. Sometimes you just have to do stuff that you don't want to do. But generally speaking, do more things that bring you joy and say no to things that don't whenever you can. I realized that for a long time, because my marriage had been struggling, I had stopped doing things that made me feel good. I just kind of put my head down. I took care of the kids. I made sure that I took care of the house, and I didn't really color outside of the lines or ask for anything more than what I had because I was in survival mode. So if you find that you've been in survival mode for a while, what can you do today? Just one little tiny thing you can do that would bring you some form of enjoyment or happiness, and then do more of that. And that's going to help you identify more of what you want and need out of life. It's a process. It takes a little bit of time, but it is one of the most important gifts that you can give to yourself. The seventh thing on my list is to pay attention to what your partner does rather than what they say. So especially for autistic people, we tend to be a little bit naive. I say that with all the love in the world. And we think the best of people. We think the highest we can about people and give them lots of chances. It's really important that if your partner's saying something, that they also back it up with actions. And then the eighth thing on my list here is to pay attention to how you feel around your partner. This is so important and it shouldn't be overlooked. Yes, every relationship is going to have chapters where we feel less connected and where we get upset with each other and we have conflict. Conflict is healthy and important and part of the growth process. But if you notice that you just don't feel like yourself around your partner for an extended period of time, if this is a persistent problem, if you feel sad around them, if you feel unseen and validated, these are all really important things to note. And it can be really sad and disheartening to actually give credibility to these feelings, but the sooner you can be honest about how you're actually feeling, the sooner you can take a step forward to change that situation to better suit your life and to help you upgrade your quality of life and feel like you're living a life that you enjoy and actually like. That's important and you deserve that. Okay, I was brainstorming about this video and I wrote this at the end. If it's time for your relationship to end, you'll most likely feel that truth in a sincere and perhaps quiet way in your soul. Or I don't know, maybe it's a very loud voice. In that case, get out as soon as you can. There's so much life to live and you don't want to wait another day. But yes, pay attention to that still small voice. You know what your truth is. I know it is scary. It's like, it was one of my worst fears. But you have your own back and you always have your own back. It is better to be okay on your own than suffering together. Let me go back. Not even suffering together, but just living a gray life together, right? Life is so beautiful and there are so many possibilities and things to explore. It's not worth living a gray life. Getting out of unhealthy relationships can be completely heartbreaking and some of the worst pain. But on the other side of it, you will have so much more capacity to experience the life around you. There's something that happens with your cognitive energy when you stop worrying about all these tiny little decisions in your relationship, when you stop having just that constant stress of like, I don't know if I'm happy. I don't know if this is what I want. And then you get out of that relationship, like that cognitive space is just free to like live and enjoy. And I'm really amazed, honestly, every day, just how much cognitive energy and space it has been freed up for me since I got out of this relationship. I can think about so many more things and there's so much less stress in my brain now. I guess another way to say it is you just get used to getting bogged down in like the minutia of life. And I've said it ad nauseum now, but there's just so much more to life than getting tripped up over these small little things all the time that actually are big things. Hopefully you know what I'm saying here. Okay. So I hope this list has been helpful to you. Again, I want to encourage you that these types of decisions should be made with a lot of careful reflection and accountability, support, shouldn't be made in haste. But again, it's not the type of decision that will probably ever feel easy, but just know that there is such a beautiful life waiting for you when you stand up for what you truly want and need. I feel like for the first time, I don't know why I wasn't living this way before. I'm never going back. So life has opened up to me. It was so hard and so painful, and it still is painful, but there's also beauty in the pain. And so I'm here to encourage you that it's going to be okay, that you have your own back, and I'm here to remind you of that. We are here in it together, and a fulfilling life is worth fighting for, and it's worth modeling to your kids. Of course it's worth modeling to your kids, and that is what I have fought for, is being able to live a life, a big life that is fun and beautiful so that I can teach my kids how to do the same thing. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.